Press the buttons. Can you hear me now? Hopefully you can hear me now. Fingers crossed. Technology. Technology. Right, okay. Fingers crossed. Should I just start again? Rewind and start again. Okay. Have we got any sound yet? Any good, Jilly? Is it coming through nice and clear? Sound is good. Super. Oh dear. Right, okay. So, Groovi Tuesday, come round again. I'm going to just repeat exactly what I said because nobody could hear me unless you're good at lip reading. It's nice to see so many lovely, familiar and friendly faces popping up on the chat. I'm not going to sing Groovi Tuesday because I can't. I haven't got such a good voice like Barbara's got. So and we'll probably get shut down if I start singing. They'll probably think that there's something wrong going on. So it's just as well that we didn't have any sound to begin with. Come on in. Nice to see you all. It really, really is. Stay home and craft. Safe, happy and creative. Groovi Tuesday. These Tuesdays, they just come round so quickly. They really, really do. But it's nice to see on Facebook and Groovi Worldwide and Clarity World, everything that you're doing. And it's really nice when we print off the orders and we see new starter kits going out and the beautiful butterfly wreath. And you know what? It really does. You think people are going to give it a go. And it really, really is easy. Hopefully I've shown that over the past 2 episodes. If you've missed out, then you can catch them up on our YouTube page. If you go to the Clarity Stamp website, which is claritystamp.com, then if you scroll down, there's a YouTube section. Click on there and you can see all of Barbara's Shacks from when she started. I can't believe it must be coming up to a year almost now that Barb started that. And you'll also find all the historical YouTubes that we've done, the YouTube Tuesdays. So if you think, oh, I'm joining this for the first time and I've missed out, then don't worry. You can just go back and watch it all on the YouTube channel. And it's all free of charge. Absolutely. No cost. The only thing it's costing you is your internet connection. But I'm sure you use that for all your online shopping. So, where are we going today? Everything is going to be all white. Does that give you a clue to where we're heading today? Anyone there? Any clues to what we're doing? Okay, nobody. I think you can all guess. You're not silly, are you? I thought today what we'd have a look at is some white work, and we're going to break it down into various different stages, and I'm going to give you some hints and tips, some little tricks as well that I've picked up over the years. As you know, I'm really impatient and I want my white work to go white really quickly. But the thing with parchment craft, you have to let it rest in between all the different layers. And what we're going to look at today, because we're using that beautiful butterfly wreath, we're going to concentrate on one small area, and I'm going to show you the difference between using the number 1 tool, the number 2 tool and the number 3, just to show the difference. I mean, you may already have had a play. Yeah, I mean, it's all about, see, for me, the Groovi system, it gives you that confidence. And although I'm only here once a week, I know that you'll get into it and you'll want to sort of carry on, and you want to learn because you've got that beautiful crisp line art. Last week we looked at the words, a lesson in lettering, and it was so funny because I should practice what I preach. Write it down and look what you're doing. So should we have a little bit of a recap of what we've done in the first 2 episodes, so that if there are any new people out there and you're thinking, oh, what's Groovi all about? What's parchment craft all about? Then we can just have a little bit of a recap. So let me just pop this to one side because I don't need that anymore. And we'll go on to the overhead. So what we started off with was from the starter kit. Now it doesn't matter whether you've gone for the full size starter kit or whether you've gone for the mini starter kit. They all come with this beautiful platemate, and there's so much use out of it. All the little symbols down the side. We've got the alphabet in the uppercase and the lowercase. These I absolutely love. So what we're going to do, so that's where the basis is, and for me this is key to the whole Groovi system, because it houses the A5 square, it will house the A6, it will house, easy for me to say, house the A6 square with the adapter plate as well. So it's all about sort of, it's like a modular system, and it just grows and grows and grows. So we started off with our beautiful plate mate, and what we did was we looked at this beautiful plate. So we've got a special offer on at the moment where you can get the starter kit in either size, and it comes with this beautiful butterfly wreath. Absolutely gorgeous. So Gilly's just popped the link up there for you. So that's for the larger starter kit, but if budget doesn't allow, we've got the mini starter kit. Let me show you the difference between the two different sizes. So if I was to trace out the smaller version, you can see, there we go, if I turn that, you can see there the difference in the size. So everything we're doing during this Groovi Tuesday, you can carry it on. It doesn't matter what size you're working in. So what it is that I'm working on the large because it's easier to show on camera. But if you've gone for the mini starter kit, you can still achieve exactly the same result. So that was the smaller version, and then this is where we were heading, and this was the stage we got to last week. What I love about this plate is there's so much use for it, because you can take the wreath and just trace it out exactly how it comes. But as you get confident, you'll look at it and you'll say, oh, this little bit here, this little bit there, and you can use it to infill areas. So I've got another sample here that I put together where the wreath is no longer a wreath. I've just created my frame with the nested squares, which also comes in the starter kit. And then I've just taken the plate and I've just infilled it with all the different elements. Okay. So last week, how far we got was, hopefully we all got to this stage, and we'd put a lovely word or a couple of words across the top. We put the beautiful landscape in the background, which also comes in the starter kit. So everything we're using is contained in that one kit to get you going. Okay, so for this, what we're going to do, we're not going to go to our masterpiece that we've created. We're going to retrace out a small element of the plate, and then we're going to practice. But I'm going to show you a couple of things to do so that you can see the difference. So, are we all ready? I think I need a sip of coffee. How's everyone doing? You're okay? It's a lot milder today. It's really, I may need to reach down and put the fan on in a minute. It's either that or I'm having a hot flush. Oh, lovely. I won't say what number cup of coffee this is. You don't want to know. Right, okay. Are we ready to groovy groove? So, what we're going to start off with, we're going to need another piece of parchment. So we'll go to the overhead. So I'm going to follow the same principles I always do. We need to make sure that the plate is the right way round so that we can read the word groovy. And that means if you run your finger over it, you'll feel that you've got these grooves. Okay, so that's in our plate mate. And as always, I attach my parchment, I line it up so that my parchment is the same width as the plate mate, and it's lined up top and bottom of the plate. And for me personally, if I'm working with something that's got a central design, then it means even if I have taken it off and I've done other stuff with it, I know that I can position it back in place and I'm good to go again. So I'm going to use some Groovi tabs. I've treated myself, I've got some new ones. Okay. And what we're going to do, we're going to attach our parchment top and bottom to our plate mate. So again, what that means is we can lift it up, we can turn it over, and we can really look at what we're doing to see if we've missed anything. So we're going to pop that down in place there, so you'll see that the plate just falls perfectly in there. And again, if you're using the little starter kit, it's exactly the same, it's just that the size is smaller. Next, what we're going to do, we're going to take our tumble dry sheet and we're just going to wipe our parchment again. Okay, and what that does, for those tuning in for the first time, is it allows the tool to glide more easily within the grooves. So in the starter kit, you've got these lovely tools. Let's have a look here. So we've got the number 1, the number 2, the number 3 and the number 4. And as you'll see, they've got different size balls on the end of them. The bigger the ball, the less pressure will be applied in relation to going into the groove. So that means that your parchment won't stretch as much. If your parchment doesn't stretch as much, what that means is you get a softer white line. Okay, so over the course of the past 2 weeks, we've just been concentrating on the number 1 tool, which doesn't have any ball on the end. And what I want us to do is, if we all start off in the same place, and we're going to just look at this area. Let's have a look. Which area should we look at? I think we should look at this area over here. Okay, so if I go to the overhead, so it's the area we're going to concentrate is just underneath the butterfly itself. Okay. So, whoops, wrong camera. Oh, it's my day for it today. I bet that woke you up, didn't it? Okay, so to start off with, to get my crisp white lines, where's my groovy guard gone? What I want to do is the stalk on the leaves, I'm going to trace with my number 1 tool. And that will give me my crisp white line. The stalk on this one here, I'm going to do exactly the same. And we'll just do those tiny little bits just there. Okay. Next, we'll do this one. And we're going to do the stalks on that one. And then on this one, we're just going to repeat the process. So this is giving us our prominent white areas. Okay. And because it's the stalk, you want it to stand out more. So now we've got choices. I can turn over and we can start looking at the number 2 tool, which has a slightly bigger ball on the end. Now the number 2 tool has got a 1.3. For those of you that have got the Pergamone tools, then you could use the 1.5. And we'll come to the Pergamone tools a little bit later during the course of the hour. So to keep it easy, I'm going to trace out very lightly. I'm still putting the same pressure that I would with the number 1, but I'm going to use the number 2 tool to trace out the bottom half of that stalk. Okay, so when we have a look, so the bottom half of that stalk, I'm going to trace out with the number 2 tool. Then what I'm going to do, so that we can really see the difference, I'm going to trace out with the number 3 tool. And because it has a larger ball on the end, it doesn't fit into the groove so well. But what that does is it gives it an even softer white line. Let's turn this over and have a look so we can see the difference. So if I pop a bit of black card underneath, so you can see here, the stalk in the middle, we've got that beautiful crisp white line. The leaves at the bottom are slightly lighter, and then the ones above are even more lighter. So we can see as we start to build up how this is going to affect our white work. We're going to take it and pop it back into our plate mate, and it's lined up perfectly. I'm going to repeat the same process. I'm going to do the bottom so that we can this is just about practicing and just having a go. So I'm going to do the bottom in the number 2 tool again, and then the top in the number 3. And you'll find that you're more likely to slip out because the ball's bigger and therefore it's not pushing into the groove. I'm going to do the same one with here, and then we'll move over and we'll repeat. I'm going to do all of this in the number 3 tool, and then these leaves I'm going to do in the number 3 as well. So we just take it nice and easy, no rush. We're here for the whole hour. Okay, so just follow that through, nice and gently. Easy peasy, and because we're just practicing, we're going to go for it on this one as well. So we're going to go the number 3 tool just around our flower. Slowly does it. Again, it's no rush. I can feel my voice slowing down. I feel like a hypnotist. Okay, so this is what we should end up with when we've done our tracing out. So if I bring this round for here, hopefully you can see that. Okay, so that's where we're heading for. And it doesn't matter I've missed a little bit there, because I can go back in by repositioning the plate. How are we doing? All right. Are we doing that so far? Is everyone on board with that? It's really nice because this plate is perfect for learning white work. And if you, again, it's like if you get the confidence like you do with the Groovi system, being able to trace the line art, if you practice in small areas, it's less daunting. And we're not going to trace out the whole design, but I'm just showing you the different tips and tricks on what you can do and how you can improve your white work. And at the end of the day, if all else fails, there's the white pencil. That's what I see. I remember at the beginning, it was so funny, when we was new to the Groovi system, and because I was so impatient and I wanted it white instantly, and when you're prepping for the TV show, you've got to do various different stages of your design. And I just couldn't get it. I really couldn't get it. And Bob said, well, you've got to, you just patience, take your time. We'd listen to Linda, and Linda said it is a slow process, but it's worth it when you take your time. So we persevered, but then mine was, I think for me personally, I was starting off in too large an area. So to concentrate in small areas, you get that confidence to be able to do that. And then all of a sudden it'll just come to you and you think, oh yeah, that's where I went wrong. As I've said in previous episodes, all these little bits we're going to keep, and they're good that we can refer back to them. So we can go back in a month's time, 2 months' time, and say, right, I remember when we did this, but I went wrong. How did I go wrong? Always keep those little bits, that because you can use it as a reference and make some little notes on the parchment. There's plenty of space to do that because we're just using a small area. So let's have a look now. So if I pop that back onto my plate, mate, we're only going to look at this area here. Whoops, pop that back in. We're just going to look at this small area, this area here. And we're just going to concentrate and have a look how easy or how difficult it is to break it down. Now, some people will think, oh, I don't want to go on this bus journey to this step. It doesn't matter. If you just give it a go, it's a piece of parchment. It really is. So, right, I'm going to change that word. Okie dokie. I need more coffee. Try not to get the giggles, Paul. Okay, I think it must be this shirt. I think this shirt's gone to my head. Okay. Let's remove our parchment from our plate, mate. Slowly does it. What you may want to do is another good tip when you're learning is if you take a pen, because we're working on the back of the parchment, you can write the word back on your parchment. Okay, so it's a reference, because if you've gone very lightly in certain areas, then when you turn it over you can think, oh, is that the front, is that the back? So because we're practicing, I'm writing back onto my parchment so that I don't get confused. In the starter kits, in both sizes, you get the black mat. Mine is hiding under here. I'm working on a large A3 black mat. But in the starter kit, in the large one, you get an A4 black mat, and in the smaller starter kit, you get an A5 one. Obviously makes sense, doesn't it? Double-sided, these are really, really good craft mats. It's black, so it's easy for you to see what you're doing. And on the reverse, it's spongy. Okay, so you've got that little bit of give, which is what you want to do when you're doing freehand white work. The Groovi plates are the safety net for doing the line art. And there isn't really a safety net when it comes to doing white work. It's just learning. I suppose, in a way, traditionally the way Parchment was done, you had to learn that pressure in relation to tracing out the original line art so that you didn't go through. So you'd have to trace it with a white pencil or a pen. And then the skill was to get that even pressure to trace out the line. That's where I went wrong to start with, because I was heavy-handed and I was trying to do it again too quickly. I'm impatient, and I just wanted to get the line art so I could carry on to the next stage. But it's a skill, and it really is, and to get that equal pressure, to go in a circle, in a straight line, and to have the right tools to be able to do that is a godsend, because it helps you. And with the Groovi and the Pergamone system, it's all there. It's just knowing what to do with them. So number one, the Groovi system is key for the crisp, beautiful white line art. And if you're new, as I say, if you're new, you can hold a pen, you can do it. And I've seen some of the lovely work on Facebook, and people have emailed me, messaged me, and said, oh, look what I've done. And it just blows me away that you've just started. But again, you've got that confidence, because again, that's what it gives me. It gives me the confidence to be able to learn and want to do more. And obviously, we've got the help of the lovely Linda and Tina and Glynis and Jane, all the lovely design team, just feed you and feed you and feed you with all these little tips and tricks. So what I'm doing, I'm just in that fortunate position that I'm able to share what I've been told and what I've learned, and then just put my little twist on it. So it's all about sharing, and to me, crafting is all about sharing. And when I used to do workshops and you see people do it for the first time and they turn it over and they go, wow, I just did that. It really is easy. And that's what, for me, the Groovi system is all about. Giving you that confidence. I'm probably waffling a little bit today. I don't know why. Okay, white work. Not that I'm trying to delay the process, but let's have a go. Okay, another drop of coffee. Okie dokie. Right, so we're working on the soft mat, on the black mat on the reverse. Now, if you're a bit unsure of how much pressure to apply, take the number 3 tool or the number 4 tool and just do some lines. Just do a little squiggle. Okay, and by doing that, you'll see how much pressure you're putting on. And if you go through the parchment like that, then that's way too much pressure. Oh, you've got the tool stuck. So all you need to do is just go gently, gently. And again, this is where the skill comes in. And you just gently, gently do it. I'm not saying this is how we're going to do the white work, but it's just, I suppose in a way it's like a warm-up exercise, isn't it? If you just go gently, 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 you'll just get the feel of the mat underneath. If you're going on too heavy and you think, oh no, I really don't want to do this, then when you've got your starter kits or any of the Groovi plates, that you'll know that they come in these poly bags. Okay, so if I pop a poly bag underneath, what that does is it acts as a resistance. And so when I go on now, I can put in I'm putting a lot of pressure on, I really am, and it's only at this point am I now going through the parchment. Whereas before, Watch, if I do that same pressure, I've gone through straight away. So you can really see the difference by just putting that little bit of a plastic bag underneath your parchment. Okay. So once we're comfortable with getting the right pressure, what we're going to do, we're going to have a look at the leaves. Okay. The ones at the bottom here, which are now, I've turned it around and now at the top, this is where we traced out with the number 2 tool. And the ones above, which are a lot fainter, we've traced out. Let's just, if I use this to focus that area, so you know this is the area we're talking about here. Okay, so this area here we've traced out with the number 2 tool, and then this one here we've traced out with the number 3 tool. Just wondering whether I should come in a little bit closer. Just bear with me while I'm just going to adjust the camera. I've just got to walk around to the other side, and you know I'm going to get this wrong whichever way I go. Am I going to come in closer? Yeah, I knew I'd go wrong. There we go. So if I come in a little bit more closer, and then we can maybe really see where we're heading on this. Oh, chair's too high. Don't want to fall off the chair. Little back this way. There we go. So hopefully you can see that in a bit more detail. And if I use my Groovi guard, then my Groovi guard is going to act as a concentration area. Now if you find that you're still, I'm going to say struggle, don't struggle until you've given it a go. And some people will get it straight away, and some people it will take time. All we're going to do is we're just going to gently stroke the parchment. Now you can stroke towards you, or you can stroke away from you. It's whatever you feel comfortable with. So we're using the number 4, which is the biggest ball tool that's in the set. And I'm resting on the tip of that leaf, and then I'm just stroking slightly towards me. And what you'll see is that all of a sudden it starts to, as you learn that pressure, you just come towards it, and it's like an undercoat. You're going on very, very softly, just to slowly stretch the parchment. So we'll do this side first. There we go. And what you want to do, see, this is the impatient part of it. I want it to be white straight away, but you can't. You've got to be patient. You really, really have. So let's go back to that camera there. So now what we're going to do, we'll turn that round, and we'll have a look at the area where I went on with the number 3 tool. There we go. Get that in the middle. And again, I'm going to do that towards me. So I've just checked that I was actually working on the back. I've just read my little tip that I can actually see the word back written down. And again, just a very, 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 very light undercoat. And then we'll just finish that one off just at the top. Because when you think about it, the ball tool, although it looks quite big, there's only a certain area on the ball that actually does the work. It's not the whole ball that's doing it. And I'm holding mine at an angle. Some people will hold it upright, but it's what you feel comfortable with. So when we turn this over now, you can see, there we go, you can see now how we're starting to get like an undercoat down. So if I hold that up, this was one at the bottom where we did the number 2, so you can see you've got the harsher lines to it, whereas the one above where we use the number 3, those lines are now starting to fade into it, so it gives it more of a natural look. Okay. Have you given that a go? Have you gone through the parchment? Have you tried the bag trick? It's all about, it's a piece of parchment. That's all it is. And we all have to start, and we all have to learn somewhere on anything that we do, in things in life. We all have to learn from someone or something. And we're not always going to get it right first time. I mean, picot cutting, 6 months it took me. But we won't go down that road until that's further along the bus journey. It's all about just getting the confidence, and don't go, oh no, I can't do it, and push it to one side. Persevere. Even while you're not watching, just after the hour, just have a practice. We're only using a tiny element to do this, and it's all about just building up that confidence so that you can sort of, you think, yeah, I probably could do it. And you know what? You can do it. You really can. All it is just learning that pressure. If you really, really struggle with the pressure, I mean, for small areas, for me, the black mat I would use all the time. But as you progress and you do larger areas, then the Pergamone pink mat, excellent, is fantastic. I mean, I didn't even know it existed until we owned Pergamone. Excuse me. This is another of my best friends in the parchment world. Not only is the plate mate, but also the pink mat. It's two-sided. It doesn't matter what side you use. Whatever way it lays down is the side that I use it. But it's less resistant. And it's not a must-have. Just start off with the black mat that comes in the starter kit and really sort of give it a go. But if you find after a couple of weeks or a couple of months you're thinking, I really can't get the hang of this white work, but I really want to, then try the mat. It made a big difference for me when I was learning, because the impatience, the heavy-handed, but also if you're light-handed as well, you can get a really good result with the pink mat. So, are we ready to continue? See, I was playing for time there because I was trying to let the parchment rest in between the layers. And that's another key thing about the parchment. The longer you leave it between the various different layers, the whiter it becomes. If you imagine it's like you're stressing the parchment. So if the parchment's stressed and you put it to one side, it starts to de-stress. So that when you pick it up and go back in again, it thinks, oh, I'm all right now, I'm not so stressed. And so you can do that sounded a load of rubbish. Right, let's carry on. Let's do the next layer. So we'll use our Groovi guard again. So I'm going to go, let's go with the little oval area. These are fantastic because it really does concentrate the areas that you're working on. And also it stops the heat from your hand transferring onto the parchment, because sometimes the heat from your hand or the oils from your hand can cause the parchment to curl. Another reason for it curling is that you've gone on too hard when you're tracing out the design as well, especially if it's a lot of detail. So now we're going to go in and we're going to put another layer down. So I'm still sticking with the number 4 and I'm doing it in the same area as before. So I'm starting at the tip of the leaf and I'm just stroking it towards me again. And what I'm doing, see, I know I've got these solid lines and it's going to be more difficult to break down what I'm doing, but I know that, so I'm not going to even try to break those lines down just yet. So we're going to go around, we're going to turn it round again, and we'll just repeat that process. So I know for a lot of people that have been doing white work for a long time is they have several pieces on the go. So if we was going to do the whole of this reef, let's bring in, say for example we was going to do all of this, then what I would do, I'd start up one end and then I decide exactly where I was going to do my white work, trace it out with maybe the number 2 or the number 3 tool to get started, and then go all the way around doing my undercoat. By the time I've got the end of there, you could either go for a coffee or you can go back and start again. And then if you always start in the same place, sometimes if I was going around in a circle, for example, so if I was going to do the whole of the plate and not miss bits out, then I would take a Groovi tab on my parchment to say this is where I've started, so that I know when I go back I'm going to get equal layers of white work all the way round. Another good use for the Groovi tabs. So we're going to just increase that little bit of line art there. And we're just going to come in over here. So you can see now, but can you also see how I've got these grey areas? Don't worry about that, because as we reduce the size of the ball tool, it will go into those areas. So now if I drop down to the number 3 ball tool, what we're going to do, again, I'm flicking towards me, flicking away. But I know, I'm conscious, I can start to feel when the parchment needs a rest. And that comes with experience. But if you go on too heavy and too quickly, then you're going to get a couple of things. One, you're going to get a hole. 2, it's just going to sort of buckle and look all bobbly. It really is. It's just a very slow process. And it's really achievable. And when you get the results that you want, it looks absolutely fantastic. So we'll turn that over. And if I hold that up now, you can start to see, again at the top, I haven't got my rigid white lines. Now obviously I'm really magnified in on this, so you can really see the grains in the parchment. But look down here, see how we've got these grey areas? Don't worry about that, because we can really get rid of those as we go along. Okay. Have we all got to that stage? How are we doing for time? Wow, 25:2 already. See, I told you, it's patience, and it's just building it up step by step by step. And it's enjoying the process as well. I mean, if you're doing it and you're thinking, I'm still not getting it. If this is the first time you're giving it a go, then if it doesn't work first time, don't worry. Just keep going at it. But maybe choose a different area on the plate. Or if you've got something else, some of the other plates from the design, and you think, I wonder how that works, give one of those a go. We're just sticking with the beautiful butterfly wreath, because there's so many different elements on there that we can learn from over the course of the Groovi Tuesday. It's limitless on what we can do with it over the coming months. Again, we're just biding some time. All fingers and thumbs there. Another drop of coffee. I think the coffee is making me a bit hyper today. How are we all doing? Everyone all good? Okay. So should we have a look at, we'll let this rest for a little bit, and we'll have a look at this area up here. Excuse me. So we'll use a little oval. So again, we're going to start off with the number 4, and we're just going to gently, the way in which, how do I do it? It's like striking a match, but you don't put the pressure on when you're striking. So for example, if this is my parchment here, what we're doing is, let's see if I can explain it. The point of the ball tool lands there, and then as you pull away, you're pulling away from the parchment. So it's like an aeroplane lifting off. So you're going along the runway, and then you lift off. And what that will do is it will give you a gradual whiteness. So it's perfect when you come to work on larger areas that you can sort of create real depth and dimension to it. Okay, so we'll go back here. So again, I'm using the number 4 tool. Now if you've been doing Groovi for a while and you've only got the starter kit and you've been giving white work a go and you think, oh yeah, you know what, I want to do a little bit more, then we've got the Pergamone ball tools. So they're available individually, but they also come in a fantastic set as well. And if I turn them over at the ends, you'll see how they're all numbered. And this is the size of the ball tools. So we've got, let's put that one down. So we've got the number 1, then we've got the 1.5, then we've got the number 3 in the middle, then we've got the 4.5, and we've got the 6. So in comparison to the Groovi tools, you'll see that they fit perfectly in between. So the Groovi number 1 tool is a 0.8, and the next one up is the Pergamone 1mm, followed up by the 1.3 for the Groovi number 2, the 1.5 for the Pergamone, the 2mm for the Groovi number 3, 2.8 for the Groovi number 4, 3 for the Pergamone, 4.5 Pergamone, and 6. So as you get comfortable, so what you've got in the starter kit is perfect because it gives you those basics to get started. But as you grow confident, as I said, just like with the Groovi system, and you want to learn more and you want to work on bigger areas, then the Pergamone ball tools are fantastic for that. So we're just going to take the number 4 and we're just going to go in and just trace out, we're just gently stroking the parchment. And what that's also doing, it's allowing this area down here that we've been working on to rest as well. So should we go back in and do a little bit more on this one? So this time I've gone down to my number 3 tool and I can put a little bit more pressure on. Just to, there we go, let's bring that over so you can see that in a little bit more detail. And what you'll find, I'm going to concentrate, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to pop a Groovi tab across there so I don't go any further, so we can really see the difference. So we're using the number 3 tool just there. Okay. And just on that one as well. And we're going to start to try and break down that line. Now this is where we have to be really careful. I've still got my poly bag underneath to stop me going through. So now I'm going in with my number 2 tool and I can get in real close to those areas. And because obviously the number 2 tool is smaller and we've done a lot of stretching with the parchment, this is where we could really go through the parchment. Okay, so we're just going to go along. So what else have I got to tell you? What have we got coming up? So tomorrow we're back in the shack with Barb and back from Egypt. Hope you all had a safe trip back. And at least you didn't have to quarantine in a hotel, did you? So no expense there. Then on Thursday, we've got the first Pergamone show of the year. So the Pergamone shows is a 2-hour show on Hochanda. It's on at 11 o'clock and 3 o'clock. Barb's doing 11 and I'm doing 3. And we've got this fantastic new platemate. Barb came up with the idea and Josie worked alongside Barb to create the magic. It's brilliant. It really is. For those of you that love using the duet grids but struggle with your lining up, this is, it's brilliant. And for those that love the grid works and think, I can't do the duets, this is brilliant as well. That's on Thursday at 11 and 3. Then Friday, it's back to the shack. And Barb's colouring in the lovely Pop-It postcards. And then at 3 o'clock, we've got the Moments of Clarity number 2, where you go off to Holland. Got some beautiful, beautiful sound. I'll show you those in a little while. We'll just do a little bit more white work just on this one, just to start to bring it in. We'll let that rest, you see. And it's all about just bringing it in. Okay, how are we all doing? Let's have a look, shall we? Should we turn it over? Let's turn it over and have a looky, see what we've been up to. Let's take that Groovi tab off. There we go. Come on, Mr. Groovi tab. So now, if I bring that in, we can really start to see how we've gone from the beautiful sort of soft white lines, and we're starting to gradually build it up. So this one, we've only just sort of really started on this, and then we'll build this up over a period of time. So again, let it rest in between the layers and go back to it. Just pop it to one side. But it's nice to sort of to see the progress on how it gets whiter and whiter and whiter. Now there's only so much obviously we can show in an hour and to do the stages, and because we're doing this in real time, there was no point in me saying, right, well, this is stage 1, this is stage 2, this is stage 3. It depends again on, as I say, how much we leave it between each of those layers. So over a period of time, it will become whiter. And to practice on these little areas is perfect, because it will give you, hopefully, that confidence to think, yeah, I've just done that. I really want to carry on and try again. Or, right, I've gone through the parchment. Why did I go through the parchment? Did I forget to put the poly bag underneath? Or was I still too heavy with the poly bag? Did I go too quick? Because again, if you go fast, it can have an impact as well. It's all about, as Barb says, sort of traveling gently throughout the year. And white work is fantastic for that, because it really, for me, the key thing with the groove system is tracing out the beautiful designs, but then to actually just get lost in that white work and just build it up and build it up and build it up. And then we're only looking at a small section of it, but when you've taken areas from this particular design plate and you just highlight different areas, then you'll be amazed at those little bits of white work, how it will change. Let me show you this one here, which it's got a combination of colour and white work. Look at this here. Very, very simple and very, very achievable. Let me bring that round so you can see. Okay, very achievable in relation to those little areas there. And we've done a little bit of white work in the leaf there, just to sort of bring that out and add a little bit of depth. So this is great for practicing in different areas. This is the area we're concentrating on here. And you've got those lovely 3 little dots. That's what I want to show you. I want to show you how to do a dot. Okay, right. We're going freestyle now. Just to show you and just to explain, if I'm going to draw out a large circle. Okay, so that's giving me my large circle. There we go. Now you automatically think, in order to fill that circle, you'd go round and round and round and round and round and round. But what you'll find is you get like what they call the donut effect, where you'll get this area in the middle that it doesn't matter how much you work, you'll really struggle to try and get complete whiteness. So the tip is, I'm going to do this on the overhead so we can see. You go, I'm really going to exaggerate this just to show. You're going to go up and down, and then you go left and right. And what that does is it creates that space in the middle and fills it in. So then you can go round and 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 round. and you won't get what they call the donut effect. So on this one here, if we come in, just to show you, you go, again, it's still the same process. It's very, very lightly up and down, left and right, and then round and round and round. Okay, now I'm really going for it on this because it's obviously a larger area. But for example, if I was to do it on one of these smaller ones, even though you think, oh, that's too small, I don't need to go round and round, you'll be surprised. So I'm going to use the number 3 tool. I'm going to go up and down, left and right, and then round. Up and down, left and right, and round and round. Up and down, left and right, round and round. And you'll hear yourself saying it in your head. Now for me, when I'm doing a circle, for example, I know because I'm holding the tool at an angle that there'll be areas that I'll miss. So what I'll do, I've been doing it this way. So now if I turn it round and go back on there, up and down, left and right, round and round. So maybe have a play with the plate. Just trace out some of the little circular areas and just practice, because it really is, it's amazing when all of a sudden you start to get these beautiful sort of white dots. Now for me, that needs just another couple more layers, but again, it's the risk of going through it too quickly to do that. And I did actually forget to put my poly bag underneath. So right, we'll really go for it now. So I'm going to go with the number 2 tool, up and down, left and right, round and round. Up and down, left and right, round and round. Give it a go. Again, it's a bit of parchment. See, I love it. It really is. When you turn it over and all of a sudden you start to get the whiteness. Now obviously it's going to look quite harsh on the black, but I say when you've let it rest for a while and you start to come in, you'll see how those dots really stand out. And from a distance, when you've given that card to someone, it's those white areas that really sort of jump out. Okay, so it's all about just having a play, and then if you want to, what I would suggest, you've got options. Now when we traced out our beautiful design, which we were heading towards this one here, we've done everything in the number 1 tool. So you'll always it'll take a long time to break down those solid white lines. So you've got choices. You can do some white work if you choose to in different areas. Maybe just do the little dots, because you'll be able to do it. And look, you've got these lovely little dots on the butterfly as well. So maybe just practice first, don't go to your masterpiece, and then if you think, yeah, I can do that, or you can just trace out the reef as it comes and just have a practice on that as well. Where's my reef gone? So just trace out the reef, but do what you want to do the white work, trace it out in the number 2 or the number 3 tool first, and then you won't forget, you won't get lost when you're tracing it out. So if I wanted to do all these bits in white work here, I would trace those out the number 2 or the number 3 tool first. So maybe give that a go, and then just practice your white work ready for next week, because I think next week what we'll do is we'll have a look at some colour. And there's so many different ways of applying colour to parchment, and I'm going to go with the Pergamone pencils. For me personally, I find the pencils easier. Now you can go with the Pergamone pencils, or if you've invested in the polychromo pencils, perfect. Ideally you want a wax-based pencil. So the polychromos and the pergoliners are perfect for that. And I know a lot of you at home would already have those, where you've been following Barb in the Shack with all the colouring in and everything else. And we're just going to look at the pergoliner pencils and concentrate on the 16 different colours in there. And I'll show you how you can blend the colours together, how you can just add some colour. I mean, I remember when I first started with my colouring in, it looked rubbish because again, I didn't know what I was doing. And it's only from watching Barbara or listening to Linda and picking up those little hints and tips and those skill tricks that a lot of you have picked up in the shack already by watching Barbara. I mean, I've seen some of, I mean, Egypt, when you was colouring in the Egypt, absolutely gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. So I hope you've enjoyed today. I say next week we'll do some colouring. If you've got any questions, you can always leave a message on underneath this post and I'll check them out. You can always drop me an email. My email is often on the Shack, or you can leave a comment on YouTube. So I hope you've enjoyed episode 3 and you've got something out of it. I know I have, and it's all about sort of slowing down that process. So don't forget, tomorrow back in the shack at 10 o'clock with Barb, where you're colouring beautiful, beautiful Marina Vedetova pop-it postcards. Then it's Pergamone on Thursday on Hochanda at 11 and 3. Then back to the shack on Friday. I'll be in the room again with you while Barb's going through the colouring in, and then it's a moment of clarity. Oh, I was going to show you the moment of clarity. Right, okay. Nearly forgot. So for those of you that have been with Barb in the shack, you've done these, you doodled these beautiful designs. You've got the set of buttons, you've got the windmill. I love these houses, these beautiful townhouses and the tulips. Now these tulips, absolutely gorgeous. And we've also got them available in Groovi as well. So maybe in a couple of months' time, we may look at a flower and we may say, put together everything we're learning over the process of the Groovi Tuesdays and think, right, okay, let's have a look at a flower and we'll just concentrate. We've got some beautiful 1, 2, 3 plates from Linda Williams that really sort of helps to work with your white work and your colouring as well. So this are launching Moment of Clarity, 3 o'clock on Friday, Facebook Live. They're available to purchase now. If you want to order them today, I'll do my best to get them picked and sent out to you. So thank you once again for joining me on Groovi Tuesday. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will see you again next week. Take care, stay safe, stay home and craft. Safe, happy and creative. Bye bye.